Hey King,
Hey Queen, what's up?
nothing is up. Everything is all good. I'm so glad we're back. The last time we stopped at a war you weren't ready for. So this is part two of your life story, abbreviated, because I know you can't give us everything. But if you can just give us from the age of 12 to 18 this time, just from a few stories that were impactful in your life, starting with that story that you told me about your very strong black mom in the 70s. No, this is the 80s now, right? No, 70s?
It's the 70s.
It's still the 70s.
Well, 70s, the late 70s.
Late
Going into
70s,
the
because you
80s.
was 12 years old. Okay, and I thought this story was so important because for the history of people, especially from other ethnicities, to know how the mothers of these young guys that were living in these urban areas were no punks. They were strong. They were fighting for their sons. It's just the environment took over. Explain what I mean by that, by telling the story.
Well, there's a lot to choose from. But when it comes to mothers, my mother is one of the most strongest women that I know. She's one of the most beautiful people I know. She's a very patient individual and extremely loving. In her youth, or when she was young, she was tough enough to raise her cubs. And I say that because the environment that we grew up in was an extremely influential environment. And there was a lot of negative influences. There was so many colorful characters that it was easy for somebody who's young to get caught up into the lifestyle because it was often romanticized. One of the people that had a major effect on my life with my mother was my older cousin, whose name was Jerome Marcus. But he was a member of the 5% Nation of Islam, or the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. And his righteous name was the Beautiful Black Messiah. Now, the Beautiful Black Messiah, he was an extremely headstrong individual who loved being a 5%er, who loved spitting the lessons, who loved challenging others, who loved turning people from 85%ers to 5%ers. Because the 85% used to be considered those who are like dumb, deaf, and blind, you know, and the 10% were considered bloodsuckers or opportunists, and the 5% were the poor, righteous teachers. So it was one of those type of situations. And my mother, being a Jehovah's Witness, a devout Jehovah's Witness, she wasn't afraid to allow my cousin into the house, often with other guards. One of his main men was a brother by the name of Glenn Hines. He went by the name of Black Sea. Also, El Shabay. I mean, these guys, they were some really, really tough cats. They were warriors. Actually, they were tomahawks back in the days.
Mm.
And they would come to my house and they would have these building sessions. And my mother would use the Bible, the New World Translation Bible, against them using their lessons. And it was a fun thing for me because I'm listening to a constant exchange of words and powerful words. You know, my mother, she's in the spirit because she's a Christian and she believes in spirituality. But the gods at that time, they dealt with what was tangible. You know, those things that you could see, hear, taste, touch, feel, smell. You know, that's how they dealt. And they were very pragmatic. So I used to listen to my mom and my cousin and his boys. They'll come over and they will build. And many times when I think about it, that also was something that helped me learn how to communicate. It helped me, you know, analyze, do assessments, weigh and value matters, and, you know, figure out things, you know, coming up with a solution of my own. And it's funny because when you're a child, as you grow older, and you know, I'm a skip and come up to today.
Okay.
Because when I go back in time, I realize that I am a portion of everybody that played a major, you know, everybody that played a role in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see so many of the people that were around me and who influenced me and who I looked up to or who I even despised. You know, because sometimes you even become what you don't like by disliking it so much that you become it because you don't understand what balance is. But let me go back to when I was young.
Yes. And when you were listening to these building sessions, how old were you approximately?
Now that was going back to one, because I was then like I'll say between the ages of 9
Okay.
to 13 or 14.
So you,
like
when you
that.
said going back to one, I thought you meant 1 year old, but you meant
no.
part one.
Part one.
Oh, okay.
Part one.
All right. So,
Yeah.
but this went on throughout your adolescence.
Yes, throughout my adolescence. And I believe I could have been maybe 7-ish, 8.
Okay.
You know, but.
Did you ever participate in the building sessions when you got of age?
Well, I had a lot of friends who were 5%ers.
Mm-hmm.
And they had lessons that they studied.
But I mean with mommy and your cousins, no.
No, well, I would build with my cousin.
Okay.
I would listen to what they have to say, sometimes quote different things, sometimes ask questions pertaining to certain things, you know. But when it came to mommy, I never really tried to act like I was questioning her on something like that. Yeah.
You just like to learn from mommy.
Yes, I would learn from mommy.
Okay.
And just, she was my mom.
That's right.
So her being my mom, see, mothers back in the days were different.
Exactly.
And back in those days, mothers were extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying mothers today aren't strong, because mothers today are very strong. But mothers back in the days,
discipline-wise,
had leverage.
That's right.
They had the ability to exercise their will on their child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you were theirs and you did something that made them feel threatened, if mommy told you, do not cross that street, or do not play with glass, or do not mess around with the electrical socket, or do not be playing in the bathtub when there's water in there, or do not be playing with alcohol or something flammable. When they told you that, they meant it.
Yeah.
And
it was corporal punishment
exactly.
if you didn't obey.
If you didn't obey.
May I bring you back to the end of part 1? Because I don't want you to stray too far off, because I want to veer you back into when you said there was a war that you wasn't ready for. You started acquiring guns.
Right.
Now, at this time, when you started bringing these guns in the house,
right,
that's the story I want to hear when you told me about what your mom did when she found out, or when she had a whiff of it.
Okay, we were very young, and like I said, there was a friend of ours who introduced us to a cache of weapons. And when he introduced us to these weapons, like I told you that I was familiar with weapons because my father, being a military man, he always had a weapon. And my brother, my big brother, always had a weapon. But we were able to probably sneak and look at them, get a touch or a sneak feel on them. But when you're a kid and you have a friend that brings something to you, like weapons, I had no idea the danger I was playing with. I honestly thought that a weapon was tantamount to a toy. I had no idea about the
ramifications
and the destruction it could cause.
You
know? And when we got our hands on these weapons, it came a point where, we started, moving around, carrying them. And weaponry is a thing that a person who understands it knows that there got to be laws and rules that surround it. Because if there isn't, anything can happen. And at that time, I was kind of trusty. Because, even though I was young, I was a guy who could be trusted to take on certain responsibilities. So I used to hold quite a few weapons at my house.
Okay.
And my mother was a woman, right? That if you brought something into the house, my mom could feel it. She would say, there's something in this house that don't belong here. And she would say she could feel demons. And there's a demonic force within the household. And many times, we did bring something in our house that we had no business bringing in there. And I never forget my mom, like you see me with chains on, I couldn't wear none of this stuff around my mom. I walk in the house with a medallion, a cross, anything religious, my mother would snatch it off of me. Whip it off my chest. I remember times I would be in the street with my friends hanging out, and I got on some jewelry, and she see me, and she'll just rip it off my chest. Rip it off. Had me looking crazy out there. And, but my mom, when we started carrying them guns, us being young kids, we didn't know. We knew that we could harm people with them. But at the same time, we didn't understand the fact that having weapons made you a total threat. sometimes people think that, okay, the only thing that can happen is you could shoot yourself or you could shoot somebody else. But now today, and I don't like going into a lot, but recently I heard about a school shooting, and I thought about like, when a person pick up a weapon, that's a real gun with real bullets that could cause real damage and bring forth death, and a lot of times we don't know that. So I'll never forget, we started moving around the projects with them weapons. And us being kids and being easy to influence, will often get into shootouts and things of that nature.
Oh.
So now parents know that there's a group out there with weaponry. And it causes alarm and it causes fear. And but my mother, one of the things, my mother was a very, very, very courageous woman. And when we started getting in trouble and doing a lot of stuff, I'll never forget, when we walked in the house, my mother would tell us, get up against the wall. She will make us get up against the wall, spread eagle, and search us, just like the police search people. To make sure we don't have no weapons or anything on us. And we had to come up with all types of schemes. It's like we trying to get into a party with something and figure out ways to get stuff in there before the security come.
And y'all didn't have keys.
No.
So she know what was coming in and what was going out. Okay.
Exactly. No keys.
Okay.
And there was one specific situation that I'll never forget. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I started thinking that my mother started slipping, because there used to be a time where I would move the guns around the house to keep her, because I knew that she was concentrating on my room and my brother's room mainly. But this day, I took the weapons and I put them under my mattress. So I put the guns under the mattress.
But how many you had?
It was about 10 weapons.
Whoa. Okay.
It was about 10. So they're under my mattress. And I go out, me and my brother, we go out. And I'll never forget, when we come back, our little brothers and sisters is saying, Mommy found the guns. Y'all in trouble. So I'm like, what you mean she found them? It's like, she got the guns. So I'm like, well, where she got the guns at? Because I'm saying to myself, those are our guns, but they not our guns. It's part of
the crew.
The crew.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so where she got the guns at? So they telling me she went out the door and she left. And they don't know where she took the guns. So I'm like, she took the guns out the house? So now, me and my brother, we go outside and we walk in all different directions trying to think like she think. All right, if Mommy was to do this, and we going back in time, remember when Mommy threw this away? She did this and that. So we trying to figure out what Mommy would do, where she would throw it, or put it. So we went a number of places. We couldn't find the weapons. So when we came back in, and my brother was there, my bigger brother. So when we came, he's had nothing to say. He just was like, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But when we came back in, Mommy was there. So I tried to negotiate with my mother. And I tried, man. But your mother know you. She gave birth to you. And I'm trying to, Mom, listen, please, Mommy, those are not mine. I promise you, if you give them to me, I will never touch another gun. Let me just go give these people that they belong to back. They dangerous people, this, that. She's like, I don't want to hear it. Then I'm coming back. Mom, I'm sending Ty. Ty, you got to go with the script. We come in, and to a degree, it seemed like Mommy was enjoying it. Torturing us. Because it was we wanted them back, but she already had in her mind, you're not getting them back, so forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tells my mother, Mom, listen, I know you threw them away. They outside somewhere, and wherever they at, Mom, just tell us. I'll tell the people. They go get it. We don't have nothing to do with it. But we kept on going at my mother so much because we wasn't letting her out of our sight. We kept talking, and she was ready. She was like, "Back up, get out my face. I don't want to talk about." It. But then she got fed up and said, "I threw him down the incinerator." So I was like, "She threw him down the incinerator." Now years ago,
Mm-hmm.
our incinerators used to burn. It used to be a time when whatever you put in the incinerator would burn. But there came a point when the things that went in the incinerator, they started being packed.
Mm.
And there was a special type of, they'll fall in the bags, and the bags. And
Compression
right,
device.
the device.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what started happening. So the crazy thing about it, I was like, yo, listen, I'm going to go down in the incinerator.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling my brother, listen, you got to hold my leg.
How old was you? I'm so sorry. How old was you at this point?
He was like 14.
Okay.
So I'm telling him, listen, you going to have to hold my legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go down there and get him. But I took, because the incinerator could come out. And then you just see a big square.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went in there, I don't know. I put my, and I felt something like, I just felt like this ain't going to go right.
Yeah.
Something going to go wrong. So I tell my brother, nah, we got to get in that basement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we trying to come up with all types of ideas how to get in the basement so that we could talk to the janitor in the projects. So, you know, we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the janitors back then, they was pretty tough guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they did a lot of manual labor, and you know, they were men.
Yeah.
So they wasn't really willing to really negotiate with boys.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, we go down there, and I try to talk to the janitor. You know, the janitor is like, "Look, you two punks, you guys better like he." The janitor is like, "Look, you two punks, you need to go to school." So I'm like, "No, listen, my mother dropped something in the incinerator that's very, very important, and I need to get my hands on it. And I'm asking you, you know, I'm telling him like with your supervision." So he's telling us, "Yo, get out of here and stop playing." He thinks it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to let him know it wasn't no joke.
Okay. And how did you do that?
Unfortunately, at gunpoint.
Okay. Oh, so you had one more gun left?
Yes.
Okay.
The guns that we had on us.
Okay.
So now when I come back, we like, yo, you have no choice now. Either you're going to let us in here or this thing's going to go wrong, totally wrong. So he let us in.
Okay.
So he takes us in and he takes us to the room where, so now while we got him in there, we telling him, "Look, man, I'm going to give you some money. I'm going to give you $100. All you got to do is help me." Now, he's angry with us. And he's like, initially like, "I don't want nothing." Yeah, because he's like, "Y'all young punks don't got no money." Because he's thinking, because we kids.
Mm-hmm.
But we had money.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we pull out the money, he's like, okay. Now he's trying to make new deals and say, "Okay, look, this is how we going to do it. I'm going to search it because I think maybe when he seen we had the money, he said,
it's money.
There must be something very important in there.
And valuable.
And I might be able to catch them for it."
Mm-hmm.
But I decided that I was going to be the dude to search it.
Mm-hmm.
So I let him know, "Yo, you get up and you get on the side. My brother going to hold you down. I'm going to search it." We searched the bags, and I ended up finding this. Hey, my mother threw away this nice bag with all the weapons in it. It was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get the bag, and when I open it and I started counting the weapons, the guy was like, "Oh my God, like, hey man, listen, why don't y'all give me a pistol?" So we was like, "Yo, listen, we gonna do something for you. This. We're gonna give you the money. he was like, nah, man, give me the money. Look, I made a deal with you. So then he made the deal with us and was like, listen, I'll give you a key to get down here if y'all give me the weapon and the money. And you know, we ended up giving him a small caliber handgun. Mm-hmm. He was our janitor. He was a guy that, you know, we knew that we was going to encounter on a regular basis, and we never knew when we might need him. Mm-hmm. And that was that story there. You know, we got the guns back.
So when you got the guns back, did you bring them back in the house or did you take them elsewhere?
No, at that time,
yes,
I didn't trust my mom because my mother.
You think?
My mother was like a CEO on Rikers Island. Like she was one of those people that will search the house. So she'll hit different areas. Mm-hmm. So we gotta let her hit an area, mm-hmm. and then stash something in that area that she hit.
Now, at this time, were you going to the Jehovah Witness Hall still at this time, 14 years old, around this time?
No.
Okay, so this is now, you're rebellious. You out there now.
I'm a rebel.
You're a rebel, okay.
Mama done gave up on us.
Okay.
On me.
Okay.
Especially, like, it was one of those situations, because, and don't get me wrong, the people that I grew up with mm-hmm. in that hall, they were really, really nice people. Mm-hmm, I'm sure. I believe that they really loved us and they cared about us, mm-hmm. you know? And when I say love, there's this thing called the agape love, and it's like a brotherly love, a spiritual love. Mm-hmm. And
unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Mm-hmm. And I believe that they really cared about us. But because to me, you know, and it was my selfishness, because I suffered for so long not being able to do what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I felt that they owed me. Mm. And I was angry with them. You built up a resentment. I built up a resentment. And I never forget, like, I have this skin disease mm-hmm. called vitiligo. Okay. Now, vitiligo is a lack of pigmentation. Mm-hmm. In certain areas, your pigmentation. So where you see the white, the mustache. Yes. And the whiteness, and that's vitiligo. Yes. I can't remember the young lady. She's a model. She has vitiligo. I know you speaking of. Right. I can't remember her name. You see it, like you beginning to see it more. Michael Jackson had it. But when I caught vitiligo, mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was. Uh-huh. So one morning, when I'm a kid, I wake up and I go in there and I see like light spots. Uh-huh. You know what I thought happened? What? That God cursed me. I thought I had leprosy. Yo, when I told her, I said, yo, Ty, Jehovah God cursed me, man. He gave me leprosy. Look. And when I seen that, I swear, yo, I was mad. I was so, because in my mind, I thought that I got cursed. And I was so upset because I knew that I was doing wrong. Mm-hmm. And I was doing a lot of bad things. Yeah. And I knew something was coming to me. Yeah. But in my mind, I didn't think something like that. But I didn't know that it was just vitiligo. Yeah. You know, and it's just a disorder and the pigmentation. But at that time, mm-hmm. I really, really thought that I got cursed. And I was livid with God, man. I was like, yo, out of all the doors I knocked on, out of all the dogs that chased me, out of all the people that called me bad names, out of all the Christmases, the Thanksgivings I missed, I was like, nah, I can't have this. I was so damn mad, man. Yeah. I could imagine. Aw. Yeah, but you know that's. And so that anger spilled on, and we'll get into that story. I think that's in your 3rd chapter, when you transgressed upon the whole hall. And I'm so sorry that I did that. I know you are. But at that time, I was what they would consider a demonic state of mind. Because you know what? I remember years ago when I was young, right? There was this man, and his name was William Lopez. He used to be an individual who was an elder in the congregation. And he had high rank. And he was actually considered a member of a group who are considered the 144,000.
Okay. He was a high rank inside of the hall.
Yes.
Okay.
But he was also considered one of the 144,000, which will reside on the earth when it's renewed.
Okay.
As far as the Jehovah's Witness
beliefs
is concerned. But something happened to him, whereas he was demonized. And he became a totally different person. And at one time, he used to come to the Kingdom Hall and show love, be kind, you know, help others. He turned into a vicious guy. And he would come to the Kingdom Hall and they would have to fight this guy and throw him out. And he seemed to have lost his mind. And I never forget, they used to tell me, because I was one of those kids, I was a bad kid. So
you think?
The people that they told me to stay away from, I would say, yes, Mom. Because my mother was good at saying, TUT, don't let me catch you around A, B, or C. And I say, yes, Mom. She would say, repeat what I just told you. Don't let you catch me around A, B, C. And she would say, okay, like, that's final, right? Yes, Mom. Next thing you know, I'm hanging with them. So William Lopez, I'll never forget, I seen him one day. And look, we was all scared of him because we thought that, you know, he was, well, they said he was demonized. And he was, I believe, too, that he was possessed by some type of demonic force. But he had the strength. I mean, but the guy sees me. So I see William Lopez, I'm in the street and I'm walking and I see him. So when I first seen him, I was scared, you know, I'm a little guy. And I'm like, oh shoot, William Lopez. So my first thought is go the other way. But he's right there in front of me and he's coming. So I'm like, just keep walking. But for some reason, my legs won't move. So I stood still. So William came up to me and he put his hand on my head. I don't know if something really happened, but in my mind, I felt like he transferred something from him into me.
That's deep.
Because when I went to tell my mother, she lost it. She was like, when she found out that William Lopez touched me, she had a fit. She went bonkers because she really felt like those demonic forces was something that could be transferred because they're more powerful than human beings' will and things of that nature. And if you're sleeping, or if you're a child, if you're a person that, you know, have certain like proclivities, or you just a rascal, you get caught out there. So I'll never forget her thinking that William Lopez passed demons on to me. And I ain't gonna front. I thought that he did too.
So you got worse after he touched you.
Yeah, but I think that I got worse because I thought that him touching me made me worse.
It was psychological.
It was psychological for me, probably. But
and that was your excuse. Well,
it was an experience.
William Lopez got me.
Yeah, it was an experience.
I can't help it. I'm wilding now.
I'll never forget. He walked up to me and just put his hand on my head.
He didn't say anything?
He didn't say one word.
How long did it last?
Maybe 15 seconds.
Okay. And how did you feel directly after?
I don't know. I just felt the jolt of lightning. It seemed like I felt something go down. Like something inside me. Like I felt something. That's why I felt something, but because I already had in my mind that this guy
is a demon.
Yeah, I felt like he was a bank full of demons. Like, I mean, because I seen him do some crazy things.
Yeah.
And
Now, can I direct you into, because now you have 14.
right.
You had told me a story and shared with me about a guy in your neighborhood that was a grown man, a really tough guy, and your interaction with him because you had robbed one of the gambling spots or something of that sort. But I thought that was really interesting because you had grown men after you and you were a child essentially. You know, you still was a young adolescent.
That's the war that I wasn't ready for.
That was the war that you wasn't ready
Because
for.
I didn't know that when I picked up them guns,
Mm-hmm.
I became a man.
Mm.
No matter what age I was.
Mm.
When you pick up a gun, the police, when they call the police,
Mm-hmm.
they could say, hey, there's this little kid out in the street acting up. They're going to say, well, somebody call his parents, but he has a gun. Everybody get on. We got a situation here. We got a killer out there.
Mm.
That's how it goes. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That gun turns you into an assassin.
Mm.
It turns you into a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
It turns you into a killer, a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't nobody got no time to be playing with you. And we didn't know. See, because you know, when we young, okay, we got guns. But guess what? Other people got guns too.
Mm-hmm.
We got guns, but we're novice. And we're romanticizing. But you got guys who are grown men that are really, really about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how the young boys end up becoming serious. Because these guys, they're going to pitch your back against the wall. And one of the situations when I was a kid is that I used to be with this guy who was a real bad boy. And when I used to be with him, you know, I used to watch the way he moved. Because, you know, back then, and yo, this is in about like 78. This guy, he's wearing a lot of jewelry. He's from another country. He's a serious guy. And he's highly respected. At that time, I thought he was highly respected, but he was feared. But I was one of his...
I'm sorry, he's from another country. What country?
Jamaica.
Okay, say no more. I got it. I'm clear.
So, I'm rocking and rolling with this guy. And I never forget. There was a situation. So, you know, the guy, you know, us guys, we soldiers. So, he's like, yo, make sure. Now, this guy.
He's older than you guys.
Much older than me.
So he recruited you young guys.
Yes.
And y'all became his soldiers.
Yes.
Okay.
And this guy, he's like, he's carrying, and it's crazy because I end up being so much, he's carrying 4 or 5 guns on him. Like, I mean, when I watch this dude break down, I'm like, yo, what the like the first time I seen him breaking it down,
yeah,
I'm like, yo, how many weapons this guy got?
Mm.
Yo, what's wrong with this dude? You know what I'm saying? Because you like, 1 should be enough. But, I mean, if you really, really in some serious trouble, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But next thing I know, I see this guy taking out 5, 4, you know, and I'm like, what? He was one of those guys.
A rude boy.
Rude boy.
He was a rude boy.
Always ready for any type of situation that will occur.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, he took a liking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he took a liking to me because I was a young trooper. But I'll never forget this one day, we went to the store. So he asked me, was I dressed up? I'm like, I'm dressed. I'm ready. Woo, 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 woo. And I'm under the impression that just because I'm dressed and I'm with him, we're untouchable.
So
We're
dressing meant
unstoppable.
at that time you
Dressed
had
in
your
arms.
guns. You was armed.
I'm
Okay.
armed. You dressed, I'm dressed. So what happens is that we go to the store. We on our way back. We in the process. We coming across the street, and I'll never forget. I hear a car driving real fast,
Mm-hmm.
and it's turning.
Mm-hmm.
Like it makes this turn out. So we both turn around. But when I turn around and he turned around, there's a dude in the window of the vehicle
Mm-hmm.
with some shit long as that tripod. Like, so I'm like, what the? So he throws me to the ground. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And yo, we behind a car.
Mm-hmm.
And all I hear is massive gunfire.
Mm.
The car that we behind is shaking. Now, these cars back then was made out of metal.
Yeah. Lincolns,
Yeah.
Caddies,
Station wagons,
mm-hmm.
you know, whatever.
Crown Vics, yeah.
Everything, Lecture 225.
Sterlings,
yeah. I mean, shit was heavy. Yo. And I'll never forget that, but he started returning fire. As the car was going, he's returning fire.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I forgot I had a gun on. No, straight up and down. I forgot I had a gun. He was like, yo, what happened to your gun? I said, oh shit. Now, but he's like, see, that's what happens. But I forgot. So now I'm shook. Because the weapon was so fucking loud.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yo, man, what the because he goes on the other side of the car to look at something. So I see him, so I come on the other side of the car. And the shit is riddled with bullet holes. So I'm like, yo, what kind of gun these guys had, man? And he was like, yo, it was a Bushmaster. And I was like, a Bushmaster? What's that? He was like, yo, so he's telling me what it was. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm saying to myself, what the fuck did I get myself into? What did I get myself into? That I got people looking for me with weapons that I never even knew existed. So I'm like, and this dude had.
But y'all didn't get hit. That was nothing but God.
That was God. That was God. Let me tell you something. That's why I'm telling you. That's why I know God. God is on my side.
Yes, he is.
Because, baby, let me tell you something. There was another situation that occurred. And we had a guy that we considered a rival. He wasn't a direct rival because, to be honest, he was a guy that we really looked up to. He was almost like a he was the hero of the neighborhood.
Okay.
A guy that us little guys don't see, but we hear about. We know he exists. We might see him from a distance. And he was a vicious cat. And he had a lot of heart.
Like what you turned into.
You know, you become the people that you encounter. And what had happened is that a friend of mine asked me to do something. I did it. And the person that I did it to, I had no idea was connected to this guy. So what ended up happening, my name surfaced. Come to find out that the guy, the Grim Reaper's after me. Now, I know the Grim Reaper's looking for me. Because he's pushing up on people. And he's looking for somebody. But he's not looking for a kid. He's thinking he's looking for something else. But, because I was selling things with the metal things, he didn't see me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, me and my brother, we come into the building. And the crazy thing about it, we felt deep in our heart that there was something wrong. Because while we were on our way to the building, you know, when you go to your building, you feel safe, you feel secure, you feel like you're familiar with it. This one night, there was this there was an eerie feeling. And in my mind, I said to myself, something's not right. So I say to my brother, yo, you think he's in there? So my brother's like, I don't know, he might be. Now we armed. And we ready. We think we ready. So we come into the building on our gangster shit. We looking around. We making sure we come up the stairs. We come in the building. While we come in the hallway, walking to my door. What ended up happening though, I hear a sound. Shh, 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 shh. Like feet moving, but trying to sneak. So I tell my brother, I'm like, yo, you heard that sound? He's like, yo, like he's telling me, yo, I heard something, but like, and we laugh it off. Nah, we just bugging. We go to the door. Now, this is like the door, the area is about like this. I'm standing here on this side of the door. My brother's standing right here. Now, the hallway, at the end of the hallway, which is maybe
about 10 feet.
The most 15 feet. We come to the door and we knock on the door. Because we ain't got no keys.
Yeah.
I hear the door. I hear the door screech. The Reaper. He comes out like this.
Ooh.
2 weapons. He emptied them. Boom, 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 boom. Vanish. Yo. Me and my brother. He let off 12 shots with 2 6-shooters, Trey 8s. Neither one of us got hit. I thought I got hit. I told my brother, I said, Joe, Ty, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. I can feel it. I'm like, you got hit? He's like, nah, I don't think I got hit. I said, I got hit. I can feel the blood. I'm imagining that I'm bleeding. But I'm not.
That's
So
crazy.
now we like, nah, let's get away from the door. Because just in case if he's still in the building. Now, remind you, we got guns on us. So now, the crazy thing about it, we go, because now I'm like, listen, let's not go downstairs, let's go up and look at things from high. So when we go upstairs and look out, we trying to see, I'll never forget, I see the dude. The dude is out there, standing like this. He's out, but he's a bit away from our building, but he's out there standing there, and I'm like, yo, that motherfucker right there. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's right. I was like, look, he ain't leave, but then he left. So now when we come back downstairs, my mother and father's at the door. So remember, my dad is a Marine. He's a serious dude.
Yeah.
So growing up, we used to always have problems with my father because he was a little too serious.
Yeah.
And, you know, he be laying down law and he try to run the house, you know, like the military sometimes.
Yeah.
So when we come down, you know, my mother's like, oh my God, what happened? So I tell my mother, Mom, I don't know, Mom. We was just at the door. Somebody came and they just tried to take us out. So my father, because my father didn't totally live with us, but he did. He would come in and out.
Yeah.
But you want to see him probably 2 days out the week or something like that.
Yeah.
So my father comes. So my father asked me what happened. So I tell him the story. Look, he didn't even let us in the house.
Y'all still in the
out
hallway.
We in the hallway. Then he asked my brother what happened. My brother tells the story. He said, y'all guys want me out this house so damn bad that y'all shot up your own mother effing door just to tell me to leave. I'm not going no damn place. Yo, we like, Dad, Dad, listen. We didn't do this.
Uh-huh.
But he said so.
That's how bad y'all was that he thought y'all did.
He's telling us that mathematically it's impossible for us to
survive
be
that.
Right there. And it'd be 6 shots being shot off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
12
shots. 6 shots from one gun and 6 shots from the other. And we still alive or nobody got hit. And we pleaded our hearts to this man. That, Dad, please, listen. We knew the cops was coming. I'm like, please, Dad, you gotta let us in the house, this and that. We had to actually leave, go over the roof, but my father didn't even believe that somebody tried to knock us off. Yeah.
So that was the second God. God covered you.
And I'm not gonna lie, there's so many stories similar to that. That.
Listen, you here today for a reason. I always tell you that.
Yeah.
God took you out the streets after it got too much, but he like, I can't keep saving. Let me lock your ass down.
Right.
And got you off the streets, and you here now for a reason.
Yes.
To spread this positivity, to teach.
I believe that.
Somebody gonna get a message.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Now, I want to say, because we had 52 minutes, let's end it tonight. Because at that age of when you survived that shootout, you and your brother, how old were you?
We were 16.
Okay.
And 14.
Okay. So when we start again, when we do part 3, we'll pick up from the age of 17, 18. Okay. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, but you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
My God, I got to give you a round of applause because you are a one-man show. You really drove the points home. You know, you gave us your heart, your soul, and you took us back because I envisioned everything that you said. And baby, all I could say is when that movie and then that series drop, we on the top, baby.
That's right.
Okay?
All right, baby.
All right, this is part 2, Walterkingtutjohnson. And I'm looking forward to doing part 3. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.